2003, when I first found out what Barrett's was and that I had it, the surgeon told me at that time that 98% of all the people that were diagnosed with esophageal cancer, they die within 2 years. And he said, and then he looked at me, he says, it doesn't mean that you have a 2% survival rate. What that means is that only 2% will live longer than 2 years, but they'll all die from the cancer. When we went in on the 20th and were told that I had esophageal cancer, that it came back from pathology, it was invasive adenocarcinoma, it was kind of startling. A lot has changed since 2003. Now they can do surgeries, and they can, like the surgery they're going to do with me most likely will be, they're going to take a chunk of my colon and they're going to sew it in where my esophagus was. So that's kind of mind-blowing, but apparently it works. So in my case, because they caught it so soon, and when I say that we got this really soon, what that means is it hasn't spread throughout my entire body. The esophagus is a very thin muscle, and it sits right next to your heart. It sits right next to lymph nodes, right next to your lungs, the whole 9 yards. Once it gets through those walls, that thin wall, it travels into your brain and everywhere. So that's the reason why they're doing the chemotherapy, and just in case any of those little guys escaped. So when they told me I had esophageal cancer, those are the things that came to my mind really quickly. I just was resting up from working on the property in Idaho, and my ambition was to get a road built to the top good enough so we can get a well driller up there, and by golly, we got that done. My plans were that this winter I was going to be working on that my dozer, and replacing the left master cylinder for the left brake, and dealing with some of the fuel issues that I've had, and get that thing in fighting order for next year. But all those things now seem pretty distant. So you don't lose hope. I haven't lost hope, and I've started to look at all this treatment as, it's just another journey. It's another adventure. And I know that sounds kind of bizarre, but I'm learning about life is what I'm doing. And this is all part of it. It's not the really fun part, but it's still part of it. I've known a lot of people who have gone through this kind of stuff, and I guess my hopes are that I'm going to be able to help others in some way. That's the goal. And that it kind of softens the blow of the diagnosis. 2 days ago, went in, and it was the first time they were going to try to access my port. And I was so swollen that they really couldn't access it, but it had only been in there about 4.5 days, so it'll get better. They did pull in one nurse that she found it for the other nurses 3 times and just about put me on my knees. It was excruciatingly painful. And I kind of get the idea that maybe some of the other, most people, they don't have those problems that I've got, but mine, I think, is sitting right on a pretty big nerve. Okay, so it's kind of an odd thing, but my oncologist told me to eat lots for Thanksgiving because when I start chemo, radiation therapy, eating won't be that much fun. As we get towards the end of the radiation should have my esophagus and in one spot burned good enough so that it doesn't want to swallow, and I may have trouble swallowing. I'm going to lose, it's going to do strange things to my taste buds, and things just won't taste good. So these are all things that you deal with, you have to think about. And I learned after my first big surgery in 2003, I told my wife, I says, I would much rather die from cancer than do a surgery like that again. Well, here I'm on my fourth one. So I learned pretty quickly, my life is not my own. Your life is not your own. My life belongs to my friends, my family. And so they want me to stick around. So I want to do everything in my power to make that happen. So those are the things that I'm thinking about. God's real. I have no question where I'll end up, at least as far as better or worse. I will end up better when I am gone, but this surgery isn't, none of this stuff is going to be the end of me. It's going to be the beginning of a life without esophageal cancer always on your mind. But my view of the human body, the way I see God sees our human body, these are the diapers for our soul. It's the first step. It's the first steps in a journey that's going to last for eternity. So we start out with diapers, and we get some big boy clothes, and pretty soon we'll be dressing like adults in an eternal world. Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope this helps somebody. Feel free to leave some questions in the comments, and we will answer them to the best of our ability. See ya.